Hello, and welcome back. It's Scott here. So today I want to talk about Treasury inflation protected securities. So these things, like the name says, uh, should, I'm going to use the word should all over this, protect you from inflation. Uh, Ideally, Treasury inflationary protected securities uh, are Treasury bonds that are indexed, so they should go up in value to an inflationary gauge to protect investors from the decline in purchasing power of their money. So, like, if inflation goes up and the cost of goods increases, in theory, this thing should go up in value. Now, let's learn a little bit more about this. Most investors do not directly buy things from the US Treasury. Most of us have some 401k or something like that. Anyone that uh, has been at least in a moderately good paying job likely has this 401k option. In that 401k, you'll find some fund, whatever it may be called, but eventually it'll say Treasury Inflationary Protected, whatever. Um, Most of those funds just charge you a fee and buy these funds uh, from iShares or one of these that essentially holds those bonds for you. Now, if you look at that, you might find that, oh, the value's different or the price is different, but don't worry about that. It's all about how they cut the pizza. At the end of the day, it's a dollar. It goes up and down the same way that this does, minus your fees. So looking at this tip, you see, okay, well, we've had some inflation here. Let's look at what it is. Oh, 17%. Oh, since 2019. Uh, well, houses went up 200%. Why am I only at 17%? What's going on? How is it that, gas is, up or down, and yet this thing doesn't really seem to be providing me that security that was promised on the front of the label? Well, let's find out a little bit more about what a Treasury inflationary protected bond is. Well, here's Treasury Direct. So this is, if we wanted to go buy it right now, we can go do that. We can go buy our tips directly from the US government. They've been selling them since 1997. And you look, and one important thing it says is tips increase with inflation and decrease with deflation. Okay. As measured by the Bureau of Land or Labor Statistics. So that means US government is not only selling you it, they're not only the ones controlling it, but they're also the one indexing whether or not it's going to go up. And they do it to the CPI-U, or the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers. Well, what's a consumer price index, you might ask? Let's go find out. Here's some math. Ah, there we go. A consumer price index is a measure that changes in price level and weighted average of a market basket of consumer goods and services. So basically, it's the price of a whole bunch of stuff that they say is typical for a consumer. Okay, sounds good. Um, well, what about CPI-U? What's up with that? Why is it that, hold on a second. Oh, there's a U, there's a W, there's an E, there's a C CPI. What is all this? Well, apparently, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics broke it into a whole bunch of different categories depending on what group you might be in. So you could have inflation from elderly sort of consumer goods fly off the handle, while at the same time, the CPI for urban consumers, whatever that might be, guess we're not buying farm equipment or something, uh, this thing could be completely flat. And somehow there's a difference between clerical workers and urban wage earners and just urban consumers. Interesting. So now that we have multiple types of CPI, uh, we know that CPI-U is the one that it's actually against. So using that, and from this definition, we now know that tips are dependent on CPI-U. Here we pulled up the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics most recent report here from March 2021. Scrolling down, it's nice how they type this out in a nice brick and not even in an actual Excel spreadsheet. But if you look, oh look, for the most part, we have no inflation, none at all according to them. It's quite low. Energy prices moved a little bit, but everything's fine. Oh, shelter. Now, could that be home prices? No way in the world this is home prices. Could this maybe be rent? Let's look. Yep. So we are seeing that it's owner's equivalent rent. Well, when you control the entire rental market, it's pretty easy to keep rent stable for some time. So we've had no inflation. Yay! Except for you can't buy a house. Not if you don't already have one. Prices of houses doubled. No CPI change. Energy went up a little bit, but it went down a ton too. So overall, it's like nothing changed at all. Commodities? Well, apparently they didn't see the commodities chart that I have. Lumber's ridiculous. Metals have gone through the roof. But apparently food's just fine, even though corn went up 90%. Very interesting that none of these things seem to be inflating all that much at all. And in fact, going backwards, you see, oh, we said only 2%. We're fine, 2%. So maybe my tips will get a whole 2% this year or this quarter. That's if it doesn't go back down because of all those deflationary pressures. But yet the prices of everything still went through the roof.